The way I thought I would do this is that I'm going to take an older video because we are always doing new videos.
Hmm.
So I'm going to take a video that Robert has shared with us and that we always do share during when Robert does go live or whenever he refers to something. And I'm just going to show you a basic of how Vizard works and how I work with it. I have found a variety of ways of making it work so that we can put together the shorts. But sometimes Vizard is as it is. It's an AI program. I will say that. And it is still learning. That is the thing to understand. It is still learning. Yes, it's very good at what it does. But for example, I was trying to do the inner circle, and it wasn't nailing the points that I bring down, that I put to it, that are effective for us. Now, first things first, I want to show you this. These are notes right here that I take during Inner Circle, Unlimited Wisdom, Imaginators. All of these are notes of timing that I keep track of. And I learned this as we were starting to do this more and more. Basically, it's the title, and you should see what I've got. This is, ever since I started keeping track, all of these pieces of paper.
My God, we got a novel coming together.
Pretty much, yeah. But these are all Hollisisms or whoever is talking, because we want to try to include everybody. But anyways, so what I do is during these broadcasts, I try to keep track of the time, because we start at the top of the hour. Now, for Unlimited Wisdom, unless I'm watching the replay, that's a little difficult because we just start talking. Matt turns the on-air button on and we roll. So if I can't get the exact time based on the time that we are going, a lot of times I will write the words down, like just a few of the words. For example, on Unlimited Wisdom, I wrote down the words, which, by the way, came up at 20 minutes into the podcast. Nothing inspires me, ... And the reason why is because in both Vizard and in Premiere, I can find, using the find buttons, the words "nothing inspires me," and then I can find the spot where it is that I want to start the edit from, and then time up to a minute. Now, that's if I'm that also helps me in Vizard. But Vizard, what is great about Vizard is it can break down a 25-minute video into 1-minute segments or minute and a half. You advise it when you set things up. Okay, I want less than 30-second segments. I want 30 to 60-second segments. I want any segment, and it'll break it down. So what we're going to do, let me go ahead and start sharing my screen. Let me do this.
Thank you so much for doing this for everybody, Craig. Appreciate you so much. I know everyone's excited to see this, so thank you for sharing that even before.
It's a pleasure. All right, so here we go. I'm going to share my full screen. So right now, what I've got is the point guide and direct video that Robert has and that we have been sharing all this time. One of the things that you look for to get started is if you can download, and I'm only going to use Robert's because that's what we work with. But for you, think about this: if you have a pre-recorded video, you can either download it to your computer and then upload it to Vizard, or take the URL. Okay, so I'm going to take the URL, and there's I want to go right before the and sign because that's what we need to do. I'm not going to go into a lot of explanations about it, but typically you can take the full URL, copy it, and then you go over to Vizard. Now, our Vizard projects are open. So I can do one of two things. I want to create the project. So the master project, I can upload from the link. I can upload from a local file. I can even record a video or import it from Zoom. Haven't tried the import from Zoom yet. Might have to try that very soon. But I find it right now the best way is either these first two. Upload a local file or from the link. So since we got the link, I'm going to go ahead and click on upload to the link. Then I'm going to paste in this spot the link. It thinks about it. Now we've got, okay, that's the video, right? English. Okay, now let's get AI clips. It's going to take a few minutes to go through and figure out those links. Actually, it's going to upload it to their system. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing for a moment here. The nice thing is now it's in Vizard's hands. It's going to upload. It's going to create the project. Then what it's going to do is find the best parts. And that's where it's going to break it down to based on whatever you decide is less than 30-second clips, 30 to 60, 60 and more, or however it is. I forget what it is. Right now I've been using it so much on this account that it knows what I want. You can also set up Vizard. As soon as it's finished uploading and creating the project, I'll go back to it. Otherwise, it's just boring to watch it say uploading. You can safely leave the page. We will email. Okay. So I'll wait. Anyways, so you can set it up whether you would want them in landscape format, vertical format, or 16:9 format, or what we do is we set it up in the vertical 9:16 format. Yes, I'm getting technical. 9:16 is considered the best way for Instagram, for YouTube Shorts, for Facebook Reels. So that's why we take the regular full-size video and put it into that squished vertical format. So the system already, now we're getting to finding the best parts. It'll be ready in just a quick second here. Typically takes 16 minutes, but it probably will be a little less. But so you can set it up. You can set it up in a square format, which apparently is great for Instagram. But what we want to do is we want to try to get the most bang for our buck. And especially with cell phones being vertical, as opposed, when you look at your cell phone, you look at it in the vertical format, not in the horizontal or landscape format. So that's how we create them. And so that when you look at your phone, it looks full on your screen. And you want to try to make sure that your image, whatever you use, is full on the screen. Especially when you have phones that are small in size and you're having to squint because we've used a horizontal format in a vertical setting. And you have to, if you want to share something, or people want to see who you are by watching your eyes, your face, when it gets too small, it's not fun to look at. The only time that's good is if you're working with 2 or 3 people, which sometimes we do. And that's the beauty of Vizard, is it will set it up so that if you have, like you're interviewing somebody else, or when we solo on someone else, it will set itself up in that 9:16 format with one person on top of the other. Or in the case of 3 people, it will line it up so that there's maybe the main speaker on top and then the 2 other speakers on the bottom. So Vizard does a very good job at putting things like that together. Let's see where we're at. Continue. Upload fail. Oh shoot.
I was gonna say, if you do jumping jacks while you wait, you actually can get a nice burn going. I've noticed.
There you go. Yeah. Okay, now it's back to doing what it was supposed to do. I think I hit the wrong button. So let's see. So we're still finding the best parts. And then what we'll do is we will get back to it in just a moment, because it's got to make sure that it finds those specific segments that we want to select from. So that is, Vizard is pretty much, that's a very good way to put it, Lisa Marie, because I know you've used Vizard before. It's pretty much automatic. You do have to get used to some of the little idiosyncrasies. It's still like Matt says, when it comes to the AI programs, it's still not perfect. And you have to understand that, especially if what you see or what you want is not what they're giving you. And that's why I was telling you that I keep track of where in the videos that we've created certain phrases are, certain segments are. And what I do is I will jot those down, and then even on this page, I don't know if you saw them or not, but there's little asterisks to the side there, because what I want is those are the ones that are like the oh my god, those are the perfect ones to share. And they could be short, they could be long. Now, sometimes because I don't get what I want, and this is me, I will use Adobe Premiere Pro because I can import that. It has texting. It can take the text from the video as well, and then I can find the spot, create it, which is what I did the last couple of video shorts that came together. So there is that option. But for the most part, Vizard is a really good way to go. This is taking a little longer than I expected. So I don't know. At this point, does anybody have any questions about Vizard? Because until it comes up, I really don't have much else to say. It's more of showing. Okay, go ahead, Lisa Marie. Unmute yourself and let's chat a little bit.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I'm wondering with the Vizard, it is pretty much all set up. It'll give you your captions, it'll highlight them. You can pick out the text and everything, the style. And then once you have that all set up and on the default, then you should get that every time, correct?
You should, yes.
Yes.
And it's going to
Okay.
take a little bit of a practice because what it does is it sets up I mean, besides the video itself, it will set up two different visual sections for text. And
Right.
that's why I want to
Right.
wait and
Yeah.
show.
Okay.
Yeah, because whether you want one thing or whether you want the text to be read and showing at the same time, like a caption.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the nice thing is, if you don't want that, you can turn it off.
Right, right. There are a lot of nice things about Vizard, just setting them up. You know what confuses me the most is now I believe Matthew, when he first started talking to us about all this technology and whatever, and he was in, I believe he was showing Vizard, but Matthew, you had mentioned at one time, because this is a problem I'm running into, is constantly running out of minutes. And yeah, I could pay for the pro version, but I don't. You know what I mean? So you had mentioned there was a way to avoid that. And I didn't know if it was in CapCut or if it was Canva where you could cut that video down before you actually put it in there to export it, and that saves a huge amount of minutes. Am I right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah, it can.
okay.
I would say, if you're, like the base plan, for Vizard is 29.99, I think. I would say if you want to take it more seriously, I definitely would just pay for that. I'll give you reasons why. Um, we go through a lot of video content, and so we pay for the bigger one. But I also have another account that I use for my personal use that's $30 for a bunch of different channels, and I think it's worth it just at the $30 level. Like,
Okay.
I'm gonna share a little bit after Craig shares about how you guys can do a couple of really fun things with it, right? With
Mhm.
content.
Okay.
But I think it's worth it for the paid version, only
Mhm.
for you have to ask yourself, am I is $30 a month worth you editing down every single video that you
Yeah.
Right.
make to put it in
Right.
there? And then you're also gonna have the watermark of Vizard, which will no longer exist if you have the paid version.
I know
So
it
it won't
always
even say
comes across.
Vizard.ai.
Yeah, it comes across. It's right across my forehead every
Right.
Right, right, right. So I would just say, of course, too, what you could do is
time.
say a lot of people see like subscriptions as like some long-term play. It's not. Truth is, if you spend $30 for 1 month and you don't think you got $30 out of it, then cancel it next month and go back to free. But at least you tried the
Right.
$30 a month version, right? Saw if
Right.
you got
Right.
something out of it. So you're not locked in to keep paying $30 a month. So
Right. And I'm just trying to figure out which of the apps are most beneficial for me, which ones are the easiest for me to adapt
mhm.
to, because there's some out there that are just like, you know
Yeah,
what I
like
mean?
Craig brought up Adobe Premiere. I use Adobe Premiere
Mm-hmm.
all the time as well. I'm neither one of us want to get into that bag of stuff because Adobe Premiere is a software people use to edit films in. So
Right.
it's not something that someone's going to easily pick up and figure out. But of course, we're gonna be honest with you guys and be like, yes, this was part of our process. But I
Mm-hmm.
think one of the best things you can do, Lisa Marie, is figure out, and I've shared this before on the inner circle, but figure out the things that are stopping you from going through the process and just eliminate them. Or wait for AI to like eliminate them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
it's like, okay,
Yeah.
Vizard already just eliminated probably 5 people's jobs. Because you'd have to have an editor, you'd have to have someone go through and timestamp it, you'd have to have someone transcribe it. You can even change it into different languages if you want to. So,
And I'm catching all those little things a little bit at a time.
mhm.
I'm getting but it's just taking a
It
long
takes
time.
time. Yeah.
Well,
But
whose timeline
yeah,
are you on? You know?
uh, I don't know. I think that older lady syndrome thing is going on.
Well, I would say that a lot of people deal with that. It's got
Yeah,
nothing to
for
do with
sure.
age or anything. I think it always comes down to that same thing like we talked about on the podcast, trusting yourself and believing in yourself, right? That
Right,
the
right, right.
moment, Lisa Marie, you believe that the process you're going through and how the speed at which you're going through it is your own and you accept that is the moment that you'll stop beating yourself up so much for not
Yeah,
doing it fast as others or not doing it in a certain way others do it,
yeah.
you know?
Right, exactly. I will
All
learn in my
right.
own time for sure. So,
Things are
I
starting
know
to
you
come up.
are. You are though. I've seen
hmm
it. So thank you
yeah.
so much, Lisa Marie.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate you
Yeah.
guys
Yeah.
so much.
Thank you. All right.
Hmm
So we're going to go ahead and continue because now everything has rendered itself up.
Thank you,
Let me
Craig.
absolutely. Thank you. So there we go. So once everything has been taken care of, you'll see a screen like this. And there's some things to point out on here that are really good, especially when you're talking about wanting to share the best of your long form videos. You'll notice we have a viral score that's over here on the right, 9.8 out of 10, or it's here on the left where you see me putting the cursor here. The idea is that they figure that according to their AI, out of 10 points, this has a 9.8 of getting views because of the content, because of everything about that particular clip. Now you can see that the clips chosen 37 seconds, 44 seconds, 54 seconds, 49. There's a minute 18. It's been known to do that when you see, even though you've set it for 30 to 60 seconds, but it's been, you adjust appropriately. The other thing that I like about this front screen is you have the ability to not only take from the master clip, because you can edit from the master clip and locate in that master clip the exact spot you want, but you've now got your short clips here and you've got the transcript to the right below. So if I was to play this right now, in fact, I don't think I even set it up so that you can hear it. Let me do, yeah, I didn't. Okay. Oh, wrong share. All right. So, if I wanted to make sure of how Robert said the script, I can read this transcript over here, but does it read correctly is important. Does it sound like something that Robert would say, especially when we get to the end where he says that I needed to go through the numbers? Okay, so my feeling is, okay, a 9.8 on the very first clip, 37 seconds, that's not bad. That's something to look at. So I can play it right here.
When I learned I had to
and there's usually a bit of a delay. Matt, can you hear that?
I could do it. And then I
I
had
can
to
hear
go
it great,
through the
actually.
hard thing
Okay, good.
of finding
There's not even a
strangers
delay,
to
I would
talk
say.
to. That's
Okay,
not
sometimes
easy,
you will get the
but
delay.
it is when you understand that you're just looking for the right people at the right time.
Okay, now
When
you saw
realize
that
the
little
majority of
shift.
the
That's
people are
something that
gonna be the
is
wrong
new in
people at the
Vizard.
wrong time. And it's not about you or what you said. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. So then I knew that I needed to get good at inviting, and then I just needed to sort, that I needed to go through the numbers.
Okay, so that's your first clip. If that's what you like, then you would go and edit. And there's you can either export it as it is, but I like to edit it because there's a certain format that we like to use for the channel. I'm going to shrink this up a little bit. So when you go into edit, this is what you'll see, is you'll see a lot of crossed out text, and then you'll see text where it's not crossed out, and that's what Robert just shared with us. You'll also see lines in there, which are different segments for what you may have seen what the video did. It could be that the video has removed this top text here on the top. It could be that the scene changed. When Robert moved a little bit over to the left side that you saw, that was because there is something that Vizard saw in the video when it was rendering it that made it move to the left, and that's where this changes. That's where these lines are. But we like it a nice shot in the middle, unless maybe Robert's doing something special with, let's say, showing the book and it's off to the side. The point is we want people to watch Robert. Okay, focus on the face. So the first line here is typically where this text is, which you can maneuver up and down, or you can change it if you go to the transcript button. Now, again, I'm just going to be very quick. You need to go through this. There are tutorials on Vizard. But just to give you an idea of what we do. And then when I click down below this first line, you see that that top text disappears. You don't need it up there for very long unless you want it there. That's preference for you. Now, if there's a change, like say, for example, what we saw for a moment there, you saw the text move, or the image move a little bit to the left. I don't want that. Now, there's two things I can do, but the simplest way, because it's only Robert, I just go ahead and get rid of that line. Ah, see, now there's a reason why it was moved to the left. See where the book is? Okay, maybe I want to highlight that book. So I'm going to go ahead and put that line back in by hitting the Enter key right before the just. So now what that means to me is I am going to want to focus on that book when it comes up. And otherwise it goes back to Robert being in the center. You can stretch wide the video and make sure that your cursor or that the highlight is in that section. If you stretch it wide, then you can adjust it either wide or up or down. So I want the book to come up. Okay, looks like I got to go a little. There we go. I want that book right in there when Robert talks about it, because he's pointing that out as he is talking about it. So now when I go to the above section, he's talking, and there's the book, and he goes back to the talking. Sometimes you may need to adjust. I go through the video to make sure he's most of the time in the center. Now, another thing to think about is you can get these 1.3s in the brackets are spaces. So you can get rid of it if you need to create, to shrink the amount of time there, or leave it in there, because I like to leave it in there to a point because I like Robert to sound as natural as possible. Okay. So sometimes you can make it, again, I'm not going to go into detail, but you can edit them a little bit more so that it sounds more natural. So now we've got everything here. All the elements are in place. Do I want to change some of the text? I like this format? Yeah, it's okay. I like the text. You can change this by making sure that this block or cursor is up in the upper section. Click on text, and you can either select how what type of text you want, whether you want to add a headline, a body, and the style. Now, in this particular case, I'm going to just I'm going to click on this, and now I can edit the text. Get excited about your future potential. Okay, good. And it gives me a variety of things that I can do and fonts that I can use only for that text. Or if I click on this trash can, that text is gone. Do I want what I want to do apply to all scenes? And those are those lines going across. No, I only want what I want to apply to only the scene that I'm in. How do I know that? Because that's where the cursor is. If I click it down here, and it's only applying to the scene between the two lines. All right, so I'm going back up to the top. I'm clicking on the edit there. I want to change this to a font that I like to use because it's very good. It's called the bold font. And I don't need, let's see, I think this is the background. No, that's the text. Background. I want to shut off the background. And I want to change the color of the text. You can see how easy this is just by absolutely playing with it. Then I want to increase the size of the text in that square. There.
I was going to say, Craig, not to interrupt you, but in comparison to doing these same things in Premiere, how much easier is it?
Oh, it's much easier because you got to go through a lot of bells and whistles and hoops and hollers to get to doing
everything
what
you've
this
done.
is.
You would have had to download plugins even to get started. So you'd have to go find the plugins, find the fonts.
Exactly. So that's the beauty of it. It's all here. So, all right, there's my top. Now, in this particular case, I have the bottom, which is the caption. This runs through the entire video.
When I learned, I had to get excited about my future.
Okay, so you see that? So here's what you do is you would go to the subtitles, or as I did, click on the text, and I can raise it or lower it. The nice thing is there's a line here so you can make sure that it's centered. You want to try to get it to below the person's face if you can. There's a lot of other things you can do, but for right now, we're keeping it simple. You know, if we want to chat more about doing other things, we can get together directly. But anyway, so now I want to change that font to be a little bit more solid, a little brighter. So I like to use this one right here, and that changes it. Then I want to make it all caps. I want to increase the font size to 20. Okay, it's yellow. I like that because I want that to differentiate from the top text. I like to use an italic because people kind of pay attention to italics a little more. It's bold, it's centered, and I want to make sure that it always stays in one line. If you want to make it two lines, you can. You see all of the different abilities you can create with the style. And so then, play it.
I could do it. But then I had to go through the hard thing of...
Now, that particular decision here on the font combination does add certain little graphics to make it like dance a little bit more. But you can go through all these different graphics and decide which ones you want to use depending on what you like. A lot of them that I've seen have used this one right here where it just comes right up in upper and lower case in a special box, the 5 box as they call it. Or I'm sorry, this particular version, not 5 box. I see what it's doing. But anyway, so you select the type that you like. I've seen Matt use this particular one where it goes in different ways, different kinds of fonts. But I like this one. Okay,
yeah, just A/B test like what works for you and works for your channel. It's going to be different for everybody. Yeah, that's what I would say with the fonts. Is just have fun with it, like Craig's showing. So
exactly. So, and that would apply to all scenes because you want the captions through all scenes. Once you're ready to where you've done what you want, then I like to, just to check everything, is play it one more time. If it looks good, and I'm just going to say that it looked pretty good the way we saw it, I'm going to export it. Now, exporting means it takes all of those elements that we worked on. Now, this one is in 480p, but that's because of apparently the way that Vizard grabbed that video. If you upload it from your computer, you can get a higher definition. I've seen up to 1080p. If you can, try to use the 720 or the 1080p visual. But this is what it apparently saw. So yes, that's what we want. Now it's preparing to export. It'll take you to this screen. Estimated processing time 2 to 5 minutes. I wait until this is done, and it will come up just like that. So now what it allows you to do is several different things. I like to have it download to my computer. Okay? Because then I have it here and I can put it into the other social media that I like to use. And I find it easier that way. If you have one of these social medias, then based on the way you set things up and you set the whole thing up, you can share it to those straight from Vizard. So personally, I'm going to download it to my computer. But the nice thing is, now that we've done all of that prep work in advance, when we hit the share button, now you're ready to share on social media. But each social media is slightly different if you're going to go direct to a social media, your social media channel. Here, it will provide a hook for the viewers with a title and tell the viewers a little bit about the video. And it will give you tags to use. Now, this is set up for YouTube. There's also, if you have a TikTok channel, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, it will also do the same for those channels. But right now, we're only going to use the YouTube. So I want to generate a post based on everything that's going on. It will go ahead and give you that post. Now that's its first choice, unlocking your future, the journey of finding the right people. It's using its AI, what it feels is the best for that particular video. Plus it gives you a description. Now I'm not a fan of the description only because it talks third person. When I share, I want to share Robert this and his that, because here it says in the description, the video discusses the importance of getting excited about one's future. Well, one's future, I agree, but the video is not talking about it or discussing it. Robert is, or you are. That to me is important. So I will replace that with Robert discusses the importance of getting. And even though it says here, it emphasizes. Well, no, Robert is not an it. Robert is Robert. I would either replace that with Robert or he, because I like to keep it as personal as possible when somebody reads it, unless it is appropriate to use like one's future, or if you want to use your future. Either way, that's personal preference. But something to look at here, other AI suggestions. Click on that, and now I will get other title suggestions that I feel comfortable with, that I am familiar with. Okay, so if I don't like unlocking your future, the journey of finding the right people, I can say, ooh, mastering the art of inviting, finding the right people at the right time. Or overcoming fear, embracing rejection and networking. Unlocking success, the power of effective communication. Either way, getting excited about your future potential. Let's see. I like unlocking your future, the journey of finding the right people. So I'm going to stay with that. I can do the same thing here in the description. And you'll see that there are 3 other descriptions if you want to use those. Or you can take a piece of this description and use it. So things like that. Scrolling down, it'll give you for YouTube the tags. And then whether you want it public, private, or unlisted. And if you're ready to go, when you say publish, it will share all of that information to the social media platform as it's listed there in that exact way. So you practically don't have to do anything. Or, like what I like to do, is I will put the words in the way that I feel it needs to be said, and I will copy and paste exactly everything there. So that's simple. If it's not what you like, I'm going to show you one other thing, and then I will call it a day here because there's so much involved with this. I'm going to go to my Chat GPT, and there's a reason why. If for whatever reason you didn't like the headline that was shared with with what ChatGPT or with what Vizard gave you, then what I like to go is to ChatGPT, create 3 headlines for a YouTube short based on the following script. I copy and paste the exact script of that minute video or less than, put it in here, and here's what it gave me. Embrace your uniqueness. Not everyone needs constant inspiration. I used actually earlier today on the video that was posted a little while ago, you don't need to be obsessively inspired, and here's why. So there are other avenues that you can find to get what you want. You don't have to exactly take them. Or even more, bottom line, if you don't like what you see and you have a better way of putting it, use it. Your own intuition still is the best thing to do. So then I bring it into YouTube, and then I schedule the video. So that, in a nutshell, is exactly what I go through to prepare a 1-minute short for all of the platforms that we use to share the videos. And then, we hope that you watch and you share those videos.